She thought the whole neighborhood bowed to her pastel rules and clipboards, until the morning I calmly locked the gate on the pool she'd been treating like her personal country club. What happened next? When the cops showed up and the emergency HOA meeting exploded. Left her fake smile in pieces and the entire suburb questioning who the real villain had been all along. I moved to Willow Creek Estates for peace. After 15 years in a noisy city apartment, I wanted birdsong, not sirens. The place was a foreclosure special, cracked concrete, overgrown weeds, and a backyard pool that looked more like a swamp than a luxury. But I saw potential. I bought it. Poured my savings and weekends into restoring every inch. And according to the county deed, that pool and the deck around it were mine, legally transferred. Taxes paid. End of story. The neighborhood looked like a magazine spread. Matching beige houses. Perfectly edged lawns. American flags waving in perfect unison. Everyone smiled when they waved. At first, I thought it was friendly. Then I met Karen Hargrove. Karen was the HOA president. A title she wore like a crown. Blonde bob always sprayed into submission. Pastel cardigans. And a smile that never quite reached her eyes. She showed up at my door 2 weeks after I closed. Clipboard in hand. Smelling like vanilla candle and passive aggression. Hi there. You must be the new owner. I'm Karen, president of the Willow Creek HOA. We just want to welcome you properly and make sure everything stays consistent. She said consistent like it was a threat wrapped in glitter. I smiled back politely. Appreciate it. I'm Ryan. Just fixing up the place. Her eyes flicked past me toward the pool. Oh. Wonderful. We'll keep maintaining the community pool area for you. Of course. It's one of our shared treasures. I raised an eyebrow. Actually, that pool's on my deed. Private property now. Karen's smile tightened. But only for a split second. Then it bloomed wider. Sweeter. Deadlier. Oh. Sweetie. That's not how things work here. The HOA has historic maintenance rights. We've looked after it for years. You'll see, it's better for everyone this way. That was the first time I felt it, the quiet chokehold of suburban control. But I let it slide. I wasn't looking for war. The notices started coming a week later. Bright yellow envelopes in my mailbox like little landmines. Violation, pool equipment not HOA approved color. Unauthorized modifications to fencing. Failure to submit landscape plan for review. I'd spent months scraping algae and replacing pumps myself. And now they wanted to inspect my own backyard? I went to the HOA office anyway. Papers in hand. Karen sat behind the desk like a queen on her throne. These notices are about the pool parcel, I said. Sliding my deed across. County records show it's mine. She barely glanced at it. Ryan. The community has been using that space for years. It's part of our shared amenities. You new residents sometimes misunderstand the spirit of the covenants. Spirit? I asked. Or the part where you keep using land you don't own? Her laugh was light. Practiced. Let's not be difficult. We all want harmony here. I left without raising my voice. But inside, I started watching. And recording. The rumors began quietly. Neighbors who used to nod hello now crossed the street. At the mailbox cluster, conversations died when I walked up. Someone left a note on my door, maybe try fitting in better. Karen's fingerprints were all over it. She had turned community into a weapon. And I was the outsider who dared question the queen. Then the real nonsense escalated. New rules appeared in the monthly newsletter, Trash cans must face exactly 45 degrees on pickup day. Holiday lights limited to tasteful white only. And my favorite, pool access restricted for safety review while Karen and her inner circle kept using it every weekend. I'd see them through the fence, wine glasses, lounge chairs, laughter that sounded like victory laps on my concrete. I kept my mouth shut and my cameras rolling. Every visit. Every time Karen used her master key to let friends in. Every snide comment caught on audio. I wasn't angry yet. I was building a file. One Saturday morning, the breaking point arrived. I stepped outside with my coffee and heard splashing. Karen and 4 of her bored friends were in my pool, floats, cocktails, Bluetooth speaker blasting smooth jazz. The gate stood wide open like they owned the deed. I walked over calmly. Morning, Karen. Mind telling me what you're doing on my property? She tilted her sunglasses down, smiling that syrupy smile. Oh, Ryan. We're just enjoying the community asset. Don't be territorial. It's not a good look. One of her friends giggled. Yeah. We pay dues for this. I nodded slowly. You pay dues for the common areas. This isn't one of them. I reached over, grabbed the gate, and swung it shut. The new lock I'd installed the night before clicked loudly. Consider this your official trespassing notice. Karen's face shifted from smug to stunned in half a second. She stood up in the water, drink sloshing. You can't do that. This is shared space. Call the cops if you want, I said, pocketing the key. I've got the deed, the survey, and about 6 months of footage of you walking in here like you own it. She scrambled out, dripping, phone already in hand. Her voice rose into that signature Karen pitch, half hysteria, half authority. This is theft. He's locking us in, stealing community property. I walked back inside while she screamed into the phone. The neighbors started peeking through curtains. Some looked concerned. Others looked entertained. The police showed up 20 minutes later. Karen stood at the gate in her wet cover-up, pointing dramatically. Officer. He changed the locks on our pool. This is outrageous. The young deputy looked at me, then at the gate, then back at her. Ma'am. He says it's his property. It's not. The HOA maintains it. I handed him my folder, deed, survey from a licensed professional, timestamps of her unauthorized entries. Feel free to check the county GIS. Half the deck and the entire pool slab sit on my lot line. Karen's face went from red to purple. This is harassment. He's been difficult since he moved in, antisocial, spreading lies about the board. The deputy sighed. Ma'am. This looks like a civil property dispute, not a criminal one. You might want to leave the premises. She didn't. She stood there fuming while he took notes. When they finally left, she glared at me through the bars. You'll regret this, Ryan. The whole neighborhood will hear about it. I smiled for the first time in months. Good. I've got the footage ready. The emergency HOA meeting was called for that same Thursday night. Mandatory attendance, the email said. The subject line, urgent matter regarding property misconduct. The community hall was packed. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Karen stood at the front in a fresh pastel blazer, projector ready, looking every bit the wounded leader protecting her flock. Thank you all for coming on short notice, she began, voice dripping concern. We have a serious situation. One resident has unlawfully restricted access to our shared pool, changed locks, and shown hostility toward the board. This kind of behavior threatens everything we've built. Murmurs rippled. A few people glanced my way, some accusatory, some curious. Karen gestured at me like I was Exhibit A. Ryan, would you like to explain why you think you can seize community assets? I stood up slowly, laptop under my arm. The room went quiet. Sure. But first, let's watch what actually happened. I connected to the projector. The first clip played in crystal clear 4K, Karen and her friends lounging in the pool. Laughing. Calling it our little oasis. Her voice echoed through the speakers. The HOA fought hard for this space. Some people just don't understand community. Gasps. Phones started coming out. Clip after clip. Her using the master key. Her friends sneaking in after hours. Her telling someone on the phone, "Don't worry. He's new, he'll learn who runs things around here." Karen's face drained of color. This is edited. Out of context. Turn that off. I paused on the clearest shot, her smirking directly at my camera. You knew I was recording. Karen. You just didn't think I'd show it. Then I laid out the paperwork. County GIS map. Professional survey with orange flags and coordinates. Signed affidavit. Every violation notice she'd sent me. Cross-referenced with the actual covenants, which said nothing about claiming private deeds. The room was dead silent except for the projector fan. A man in the back, old Mr. Alvarez, who rarely spoke, stood up. Karen, you told us that pool was fully HOA. We've been paying extra dues for maintenance on land that isn't even ours? Her voice cracked. It's historic use. We've always. The doors opened. The same deputy from Saturday walked in. This time with a county records officer. Evening. Folks. We've reviewed the deed and survey. The pool and deck are private property. Any continued unauthorized use could be considered trespassing. Karen's hands gripped the podium so hard her knuckles went white. For the first time, the mask slipped completely. No more sweet smile. Just raw panic and fury. You're all going to let him do this, she hissed at the board. After everything I've done for this community? One board member wouldn't meet her eyes. Another quietly slid her resignation letter across the table. The meeting ended in chaos. People walked out shaking their heads. A few even apologized to me on the way out. We had no idea, they said. She made it sound like you were the problem. By the next morning, someone had leaked the full meeting recording to the local Facebook group. By afternoon, it was on Reddit. HOA Karen meltdowns are my new favorite genre, one comment read. Another, she called the cops because she got locked out of someone else's pool. Iconic. Karen resigned 2 days later for personal reasons. Her house went on the market within a month. The for sale sign leaned a little crooked. Like even it was embarrassed. The HOA restructured into a voluntary group with 0 fines and 0 Karens. Neighbors started actually talking to each other instead of reporting each other. Kids swam in the pool again, my pool, and this time they asked first. I put up a simple sign, private property. Shared respect. Clean up after yourself. Some evenings I sit out there with a beer, watching the water reflect the sunset. And I laugh quietly to myself. All that control. All those rules. All that fake politeness, and it crumbled the second someone quietly collected the receipts. Power disguised as community is still just power. And when it finally meets actual boundaries, it always looks smaller than it pretended to be. So tell me in the comments, was I wrong for protecting what was legally mine? Or was Karen the real problem all along, the one who turned neighborhood harmony into a surveillance state? Who was really in the wrong here?